Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, I decided to put Tri-brigade with Water Enchantress. These two engines are just that, like engines. They make the car run. Tri-brigade is more of a standard kind of full archetype that can be played by itself, whereas the adventure stuff is more of an engine. I just kind of wanted to put them together since you don't technically need your normal summon effect for your Tri-brigades to have them still work, because you do have ways to summon out other monsters through things like the Karos, through the Ferrigit, and more importantly, it's just nice to have that additional follow-up off of, you know, whatever it may be. Or that's the idea, right? Sure, not having a normal summon effect can be negative, but if you get your, or can be a negative, but if you get your Water Enchantress, Rite of Aramesir combo going, you're probably fine. So let's quickly do the card by card. Starting off with the 3 Nerval for the Tri-brigades. Obviously, we're playing 3 of this. We're playing the 2 Karos, 2 Kit, and the 2 Fractal. Kit, reason we cut this one down, again, we're not able to use our normal summon, so it's not as useful to play 3 of this. Plus, we kind of needed to have a little bit more space for some of the other cards. Moving on, we are also playing the, I said the 2 Fractal, and then for the rest of the Tri-brigade stuff, we are playing 2 Tenki, again, because we need to see just, like, some of our engine, basically we don't need 3 of this to search out the 2 Fractal, is more or less what I'm getting at. Having 2 is nice, having 3 is also nice, but also just kind of unnecessary because we're playing other stuff like the DPE and the adventure stuff, so we can do stuff without the Tri-brigade. And then 1 Revolt as well. Revolt's absolutely crazy. I kind of wanted to put more Revolts in the deck, but you also don't want to just like brick on this card. You normally want to search it off of the Bearbrum, so there's that. Moving on, we have obviously the Enchantress, or Adventure Engine, the 2 Water Enchantress, the 2 Rite of Aramesir, the 1 Griffin Rider, and the 1 Fateful Adventure, and obviously 1 Dracoback. Moving on, we have our DPE Engine, Celestial, Dasher, and the 2 Fusion Destiny. As for the rest of the cards, we have the 1 Effective Veiler, the double Max C, the triple Ash Blossom, the 1 Nibiru, and that, and the triple Imperm. So the reason that I'm running the lineup that I am is because we're also running the Crossout Designators. We're running 2 of those. I don't think you need 3. In fact, I would say don't run 3 because this card can be a brick and is oftentimes a brick in like some of your hands. So it's not the greatest, but Maxi has become less valuable just because so many people are playing so many outs to it. So I cut it down to 2 just because I want to see it less often. I'd rather see more beneficial hand traps like the Nibiru, the Ash Blossom, and the Imperm. Moving on, we have just 2 other tech cards, or 3 other tech cards. We have the Harpies, we have the Foolish Burial, which can send either a Nerval or a Kit to get that online, and 2 Called By. Called By is absolutely insane. You should definitely be playing this card, period. Moving on, we have the 1 non-link monster in DPE in the extra deck, and a whole bunch of other cards. All links. We have the 1 Almirage for the corner cases where you need to normal summon a Kit or a Nerval to get something into your hand. We have the IP Masquerena, we have Verte, Ferrigit, we have the double Bearbrum. The reason I'm going for double Bearbrum here is just because it is nice to use both of its effects. Realistically, this could also be the double Ferrigit, but yeah, or you could take out one of the Bearbrums for a Ancient Warrior, Ancient Winds, I forget what it's called, but the Ancient Warrior link too as well. We're playing the 1 Unicorn, the 1 Doom Eagle, and the 1 Rugal, and then the Apo, Access Code, and I'm playing triple Shureg. Reason being, Shureg is like the main win condition, and we don't really need anything else in the extra deck too much. So yeah, just playing the 3rd Shureg, it comes up, because you can also link it off for other materials, such as, you know, a Bearbrum or a Rugal or something like that, to get the search effect from it, which is very, very nice. And yeah, that's basically it. Let's hop into the duels and see how this performs. Before we get on to the rest of the video, did you know that 70% of the people who watch my content aren't subscribed? If you end up liking the content, consider subscribing. You can always unsubscribe later if you end up not liking it. Anyway, let's get on to the rest of the video. Alright, so here we are in our first duel, and we actually drew a pretty good going second hand. Going second, we drew Maxi Ash and Harpies. And we're playing against Pendulums. So I'm going to just Ash Blossom this monster because, it's a bad scale, and it does search a monster, so let's prevent that. Also, it destroys itself to get it off of the field, so if we can keep that bad scale there, that's pretty nice. I see the other Pendulum scale come down, and I realize now is probably the best time for me to Maxi, just so that if they do end up having the materials to go into like an Electromite or what have you, I can just stop that in its tracks and prevent them from doing that. So yeah, there's that. And then I draw for turn Fractal, because I'm the greatest gamer of all time. Anyway, moving on. We are going to just Harpies Feather Duster away, and they drew the one of Astrograph Sorcerer. Because of course they did. So, dropping that Maxi literally prevented them, or it didn't prevent them, but it did stop them from actually using that Pendulum Summon, so that was a good idea there. Anyway, they are going to search up their Mythical Master, or Mythical Beast Master Cerberus, but we're going to go for the Fractal here to send the Kit send the Nerval search out the Fractal. Now, one thing to note is that Wandering Griffin Rider is in fact a winged beast, which is very nice. But we are just going to special summon it onto the field so that we can get as much damage as we can. Then we're going to go for the Karos, and we're going to go for 1-2 into the Ferrigit. Then we're going to go for the Ferrigit, and I'm going to special summon out the Nerval. Now, here I actually make a pretty big misplay. Realistically, what I should have done is I should have linked away the Ferrigit and the Karos for a Rugal, and then I could have had the Nerval to banish to go for a Bearbrum, or I could have just linked off all four into a Shureg, and then that could have been used for something. Realistically, without a card in hand, the Ferrigit and the Bearbrum are basically dead here, so this was a mistake. Just should have gone into the Rugal and then banished to for the Bearbrum or something, and then I could have linked off like the Wandering Griffin Rider and the Rugal, or actually, anyway, I forgot that the Wandering Griffin Rider is a winged beast. I literally just said it, but yeah, I could have used that as material as well for a Shureg, and then still had the Nerval on field, and then I could have banished the monster, go for the Nerval, banish additional monsters to go for another monster on our side of the field, like for example a Rugal, and then I could have had, I believe, not quite lethal damage, but then I could have like linked off for an access code, and then no, I wouldn't have been able to go for access code. I could have done something, I'm sure, something better than what I did. Anyway, but we're going to search out the Kit and go for the Verte Anaconda in order to go for DPE. Now, DPE is actually very good against Pendulums because they're basically continuous spells, and being able to just pop the continuous spells is very nice. So we're just going to make the DPE here. My opponent is going to scale up their Master. I'm going to let that happen, and then I'm going to pop after the effect is used. My opponent is then going to scale up another Reflection of Endymion, activate their effect for the Upstart Goblin, realize they can't do anything, and pass the turn. Or, sorry, surrender. Good game. Alright, so here we are going first. And we drew a pretty decent hand. It's not great because this Kit doesn't have anything to really work with. Like, we would need another Tri-brigade or the Griffin Rider to really do anything. So I end up just searching the Fractal and then going DPE. We have the Droplet, the Imperm, and the Ash Blossom. So we have technically 4 forms of interaction. So there's that. Our opponent is going to normal summon the Achichi. I realize, let's try and keep them off of monsters as best as possible since they are playing Adagnister. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I'm going to negate with the Ash Blossom. Down comes the hard-drawn Ignister Island, of course. So they're going to link off into their Dark Infant, and, you know, I could have negated the Dark Infant, but at this point, what's the point? They're going to go for the Dark Infant. They're going to then special summon out the Picari. I'm going to let this happen. There you go, the Idol Reborn, and out comes the Splash Mage. Splash Mage effect is going to activate. Again, I'm going to let this happen just because I don't know what they have in hand. We know 2 of their 5 cards. So, yeah, they could have another monster for them to actually special summon. Although, there was a chance, because they did activate the Splash Mage prior to activating the effect of the Island, that they didn't have anything, and I probably could have just negated the Splash Mage here. And in fact, we figure out that that probably would have been the best play. But yeah, I could have just negated and it would have cut them off of something, probably. But out comes the Gachiri. Now, this card is dumb, and I didn't realize that it said the first time each cyber monster you control would be destroyed by a card effect. Each turn, it is not destroyed. But I also didn't know that it said you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. And, yeah. That's all. I just didn't know what this card did. So yeah, now it's protected, and there goes my DP. Anyway, so that's one interaction that is now gone. But it's fine, because they're going to go into Access Code Talker, and here I make another... Actually, I don't think I make a mistake here. Reason being, so here I imperm. Now, I could have gone Forbidden Droplet, but the way that Droplet works with attack boosts is that you actually keep the attack boost while your effect is still negated. So I think they would have been at like 2150, whereas with the imperm they're at 23. So that probably would have been better, but I didn't end up doing that because I am silly. Anyway, out comes the I Reborn. Idol Reborn, sorry. And they bring out the Gachiri. They're going to attack twice because of the update jammer, and they are going to link off into a Splash Mage. Now, they've already used the Splash Mage, so there's that. They're going to go for the I Meet You to search out the Doshin. They're going to special summon it out and then concede. I think the reason they conceded is because they didn't really have anything else that they could go into, and the Splash Mage had already activated its effect, so it's not really going to be doing anything. And with Fractal on the Crackback, I can literally break their entire board and just, like, kill them. So that's probably why. Alright, so here we are with just, quite frankly, the weirdest going first hand. It's great for going second. The Droplet, Maxi, Fusion Destiny, Harpy's Feather Duster, all great cards for going second. And then I have, like, Fusion Destiny pass, basically. So we're gonna set Fusion, or we're gonna activate the Fusion Destiny to make the DPE, set Cross Out, set Droplet, and pass, and Kaiju, and the Kaiju comes down. Alright, no DPE for me. Out comes the Prank Kid Dropsies. I'm going to immediately Maxi here, and they're going to set 2 and pass. Maxi is a fair and balanced card, ladies and gentlemen. It did stop their combo, so there's that. Look, it did the thing that everyone says it does. Moving on, we have Duster, and we draw for turn a Rite of Aramesir. So I'm just going to start off with the Duster here. They're going to go for Pandemonium. I figured they already had this, given the fact that they didn't try to link off into anything. They're going to then Imperm in the same column as our Crossout. I'm just going to go Crossout and call a Nibiru, so that 1, I don't draw it, because I don't need it at this point. And 2, more importantly, that I don't end up dying to a Nibiru myself. Although, with that being said, I'm not going to be special summoning that much, so I probably should have called, like, Ash Blossom. But I didn't, because I'm dumb. Anyway, I figured also that they most likely had enough materials to go for the Battle Butler here, but they didn't. And so I figured they wouldn't have had anything in hand. So that was, again, slight misplay by me. Anyway, they're going to go for the Lampsies and the Dropsies here, and I'm not going to put a spell in this zone. So out comes everything, and we're just going to go for the full adventure combo. We also get to go for Celestial here. I banish the DPE because I can, and then we can search out the Wandering Griffin Rider and pitch the Imperm. Imperm is not nearly as good as Max C against this deck, so of course that's why we're keeping it. Out comes the Dracoback. We're going to shuffle away their monster, and then we're going to attack in and not really deal a whole lot of damage, but put us on a pretty solid game state. We have the Omni Negate, the Monster Negate, and Maximum C, as well as a Dracoback. So, yeah, there's not a whole lot that they can do here. And with the Fateful Adventure, I'm just going to negate that, because, again, that's pretty bad for us. But yeah, there you go. That's the game. So, yeah, that's the deck. Those replays weren't exactly the greatest or most interactive, I would say. A lot of it was just like, oh, I happened to draw the out. And that was how a lot of these games felt. It was, you know, my opponent drew the entire adventure line and full combo, and I drew no hand traps. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Or my opponent had the out to the 2 hand traps that I was playing, and could still make the combo. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Or I had, you know, cross out, called by, Imperm, full combo. or stuff like that. So I didn't really get a whole lot of good replays. It just kind of felt very one-sided. And I think that's just the problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! Currently in Master Duel as best of ones. So many people are playing these just like end game buttons, like Halkafibrax, Verte Anaconda, Called By, the Adventure Package, all of these things that just like make your combo just that much better. So it's kind of boring. Anyway, overall though, the deck is pretty good. I wouldn't say it's better than something like the pure Tri-brigade DPE list. I think adding the adventure stuff is just adding more bricks. That's the biggest issue. You know, having the Wandering Griffin Rider is nice, sure, but also you could just play like Cat, and then you have a really good normal summon, as well as, again, something to use off of the, as a beast. So yeah, just a whole bunch of different things here and there that just made it more inconsistent overall. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy it. If you did, a like is very much appreciated. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh!, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.